and kind of, I like attention, which not to sound like conceited, but I like attention. And so
You're
when I started making TikToks, I made my TikTok before I even came out. So my TikTok had turned into like just me being goofy and weird alone in my apartment. So I'd already started to gain a little bit of a following. And then I just figured I'm just going to kind of talk about what's going on in my life and what's happening in my life. And that was a big part of it. So I was like, well, I will just kind of document my journey a little bit. I came out to my parents and recorded it on my phone over Zoom. Um, and I posted that, and that video went viral. And that's kind of how I blew up on like trans talk. Um, and I didn't record that video to post on the internet. I, in college, was pretty into journaling, but my handwriting is terrible and I don't like typing my journaling. So I started doing video diaries where I would just record myself speaking. And I knew that that was a conversation that I wanted to remember with my parents. So I recorded that conversation. When I went back and I watched it, they were most coming out videos, at least that I had seen at that time, were negative ones where the kid had to it was just the ceiling that you could see. And then all you heard was yelling and arguing and just negative responses to coming out. And my parents, I mean, they weren't overjoyed by any means, but they were so calm and understanding. And I just thought, I can't be the only person that has a family that reacts like this. And maybe it can help other people somehow. So I put it into a little compilation, put it online, and the rest is kind of history. It blew up, and then people kept asking about how my transition was going. So I just decided to keep documenting it as I went. And it's a nice way for me to be able to look back too and go back and kind of see how far I've come through there. So I never was doing it for the internet attention. It was more, I'm posting this on a personal blog almost, so I can go back and look, but I'll put it public. So if other people want to come on this journey with me, they're more than welcome to. I realize that a lot of people don't know trans people, so they might not have an opportunity to see this, or maybe they know a trans person that doesn't want to share that and shouldn't have to share that. And I just figured if I'm willing to share, I might as well put it out there for people to see. So
You said your birthday is in August. What day?
27th.
I'm August 1st.
Oh, nice. Still in that Leo season.
I'm like a Leo Cancer customer thingy. It's complicated. I have weird emotions.
I'm very much a Virgo, so
I'm married one of those. No, we get along great though.
yeah.
I love her. She's great. So if you, how do I explain this? So if you're talking about being openly trans, and you say that you love doing that because it makes you, kind of like your video diary and your video blog. Well, how did you process some of the stuff that you do get that's negative? Because I do see you actually come up with it in a very good way from my point of view. How do you work through that off camera?
Off camera, I try not to think about the negative comments that I get too much. I'll check my TikTok throughout the day, and if I have a couple hateful comments, sometimes I just delete them. Other times, if I'm like really stressed or having a bad day, I'll be like, you know what, you picked the wrong day because I'm going to respond to you today. But I try not to, because I'll go through waves where I won't have any kind of negative comments for a while, and then I'll have like 2 weeks where they're not constant, but more so. And on those days where it's heavier, I do find myself after a while getting really drained out and burnt out. Not on myself, I just don't have the energy to deal with that. So that's when I start kind of blocking people and deleting people and doing it that way. But I try really hard not to let my online life affect my in-person life as best I can. And I've never, no one's really come at me in a negative way in person. It's mostly, the hate I get is mostly online, which is easily blockable. You just say, oh, okay, you don't want to follow me, don't follow me. My new favorite thing to do, though, if they comment multiple times on any video, is I just go follow them. And then I comment really nice things on their videos. and
Yeah.
then they end up blocking me because I guess they don't like that. But the passive aggressive way is my way of dealing with it.
That
But
reminds me of my grandmother killing with kindness.
yeah.
Oh God, I love that. If
Yeah.
you were to have any type of advice for, I don't know, either the younger version of you or a younger transgender person, what would it be?
Um, just be patient with your process. It took me 28 years to come to terms and accept the fact that this is who I am, whether it's who I would have chosen to be or not. I can't change that. The only thing I can change is I know what I could do to make myself happier, or I could stay stagnant and not do anything and continue to be miserable. But that took me a really long time to make that switch because I knew years ago that I was trans. I just decided I was going to be miserable forever because I wasn't strong enough to come out and tell people. So I would say if you're struggling with your identity, be patient, keep doing the internal work, and it's a long term. A lot of people, we're so used to instant gratification.
Mhm.
So the week that I started testosterone, I would have people commenting on my videos and saying, "Your voice hasn't changed." I'm like, no, well, I mean, you don't walk up to a 12-year-old boy and say, well, you're going through puberty. Your voice hasn't changed since yesterday. Like, this is a years long, lifelong transition.
Yeah.
And I would say make sure that it is something that you want in the long term because it is a lifelong decision for life. You don't have to be on hormones, but if that's the journey you want to choose for yourself, make sure that you're going to have to do that for a while. And it's not, oh, I'm trans fun and now I'm not trans anymore. It's a lifelong journey, and in order to make long-term results, you need to have a long-term plan. And it's just a lot, and it takes a lot of patience and a lot of self-reflection and inner work to get there. It's definitely doable, but with all that extra noise coming in from outside sources, it can take a little bit longer and it can be a little bit harder, but it's worth it. I mean, yes, in many ways, by coming out of as trans, I've made my life infinitely more difficult in a lot of ways.
I agree.
But the euphoria and the joy that I feel within myself makes all the external hardships worth it. That being said, never been physically attacked or anything that way. I'm not saying like it's worth it to get attacked in the street, but it's worth the joy that I feel within myself. It just takes away the fact that sometimes I have to correct people on my pronouns, and I probably will for the rest of my life have to correct people on my pronouns. That switch is worth it for me. And so I would say if that's something that you think might be worth it for you, keep on the path. And just because you might not be able to come out right now, or you might not be ready to come out right now, that doesn't mean that later on down the line you won't be. Maybe one day you will be ready. And it just takes patience is really all I can keep coming back to the word patience. So be patient with yourself, be patient with your progress, and your process. And yeah, keep doing internal self-reflection work because you're not done coming out once you tell people you're trans. It's
Yeah.
a lifelong transition.
Ongoing process, that's for sure. And I tell people all the time it takes what 5 to 6 years to go through a normal puberty. They really think that all of a sudden they're gonna have hair and all of a sudden their voice is gonna drop. And yeah, there are exceptions to where some people's voices drop pretty quickly. And then if it like for example, if you look back on one of my videos, I had a very, very high pitched voice from what my voice is now. But I also could not change again. My voice could just be stuck like this. And then there's also people whose voices don't drop for a whole year. It really is also about genetics. So I think that people don't ever understand that. And we all gotta like kind of be here together because everybody's journey is different, but also everybody's journey is valid. So I really definitely love that. And so lastly, if anybody would want more information on how to follow you, what platforms you're on, how are they be able to do that?
Well, my TikTok is by far my biggest platform and kind of the one I use the most in terms of my transition, and that is just all trans on deck. Um, my Instagram is Tranosaurus Dex. I don't post as often on that one, but people follow me on there as well. I do post kind of photo updates, different things like that. That one's got more kind of life updates, I would say, outside of being trans. I have a YouTube channel, but have not posted any videos. I'm hoping to one day maybe make a big compilation of a bunch of stuff. And yeah, those are my kind of main forms of social media.
Wonderful. I definitely want to thank you again for being on Transforming with Drew. And as always, everybody, live with purpose and live with truth.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. Please remember to hit the subscribe button. If you found this information useful, please share it with your friends or family members. Have a wonderful day.